Deep in the rugged Peruvian jungle, the story of Vilcabamba, often called the lost city of the Incas, remains as compelling today as it did during the twilight of the Inca Empire. The tale begins in the mid 16th century, when the Inca Empire was collapsing under the relentless advance of Spanish conquistadors. After the fall of Cusco in 1533, many Incas retreated to remote corners of their once vast realm in a desperate bid for survival. One such sanctuary was Vilcabamba, where Inca rulers and their loyal followers set up a neo-Inca state that would continue to resist Spanish rule for decades. Historians have noted that the isolation and difficult terrain of Vilcabamba helped preserve not only the last vestiges of Incan culture, but also a fabled cache of immense gold and treasure. Vilcabamba's geography worked to its advantage. Nestled amid the lowland jungles and steep slopes of the Andes, the area offered a natural fortress. The Incas chose this site because its warm climate and hidden valleys could support both agriculture and defense. Ancient accounts reveal that the region was known for growing tropical crops like coca, cotton, and sugarcane, as well as various essential agricultural goods. These resources would prove to be vital for sustaining a refuge state far removed from the centers of Spanish power. Even as the Spanish launched expeditions to quash any remaining resistance, the Incas of Vilcabamba managed to elude destruction for nearly 4 decades. The legend of lost Incan gold is intertwined with the desperate measures taken during these years. As the Spanish forces drew closer, it's said that the Incas hid vast quantities of gold and other treasures to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. Over time, the story grew with each retelling. Treasure seekers began to believe that the riches of Vilcabamba, if ever recovered, could rewrite history by revealing the true extent of Incan wealth. The American explorer Hiram Bingham is best known for his discovery of Machu Picchu in 1911. Bingham initially speculated that Machu Picchu might have been the last Incan refuge, and this was largely accepted for years. However, subsequent investigations revealed that another site, Espiritu Pampa, was the actual historical Vilcabamba. If this name doesn't ring a bell for you, this site's often referred to as the lost city of the Incas. Modern archaeological studies at Vilcabamba have only deepened the mystery. Researchers have uncovered remnants of sophisticated terraces, stone houses, and waterworks that suggest a once thriving Incan community. Some of these ruins hint at areas where treasures might still lie hidden beneath layers of earth and vegetation. Even as advances in technology have allowed scientists to map these ancient sites with greater precision, the promise of a hidden cache of Incan gold continues to elude discovery. While the legend of lost Incan gold at Vilcabamba is undeniably captivating, it's important to remember that this city fell to a conquering Spanish force. It's likely they systematically looted all the gold and material wealth, leaving little, if any, treasure behind for modern adventurers to uncover. And this isn't just speculation. There's significant historical precedent for it in the exact same region. The historical record shows that after the fall of Cusco, the Spanish were relentless in their quest for wealth, engaging in brutal methods to uncover any hidden gold sources. As they moved into remote refuges like Vilcabamba, the conquistadors seized everything they could find. Given their focus on rapid exploitation and plunder, it seems highly probable that any vast caches of gold were quickly melted down, divided among the soldiers, or sent back to Spain. There's also the possibility that later explorers who discovered Incan sites may have helped themselves to some Incan wealth prior to going public with their findings. After all, when gold's melted down, it goes from having historical markers that make it traceable to completely untraceable in an instant. In essence, the lost gold of Vilcabamba, much like other legendary hoards, is likely more myth than reality. Hey everyone, it's Jimmy here, Just taking a quick moment to remind you to share this video with two of your friends or family members. Your sharing this video allows me to spend more time producing content for you. And the best part is it doesn't cost you a thing. The Ulfbert swords have fascinated historians and metallurgists alike for decades, not only for their outstanding craftsmanship, but also for the enduring mystery surrounding their origin. These medieval blades, inscribed with the name Ulfbert, date from the 9th to the 11th centuries. They represent a pinnacle of technological achievement in an era when metallurgy was still in its formative stages. The historical context of the Ulfbert swords is essential to understanding their significance. Emerging during the early Middle Ages, a time marked by frequent warfare and shifting political alliances across Europe, these swords became symbols of power and prestige. Although many of the surviving specimens have been discovered in regions associated with Viking activity in northern Europe, their inscriptions suggest an origin in the Frankish realm. This apparent contradiction between where the swords are made and where they are found hints at the dynamic nature of trade, warfare, and cultural exchange during the period. One of the most striking features of the Ulfbert swords is their exceptional metallurgy. Unlike most contemporary blades, these swords were forged from what is known as crucible steel, a material with a remarkably high carbon content and very few impurities. This superior steel gave the Ulfbert its famed strength, flexibility, and sharpness, attributes that made it highly effective in battle. The metallurgical techniques used to create these swords were centuries ahead of their time, comparable in sophistication to processes that would only re-emerge in the modern era. The inscription on the blade adds another layer to the mystery. The name Ulfbert is of Frankish origin, yet its repeated use on swords found across northern Europe suggests that it may have functioned more as a mark of quality or a brand name. Some scholars have proposed that Ulfbert could have been the name of a master smith, or a workshop renowned for producing superior weapons. This mark may then have been imitated by less skilled producers to cash in on the reputation of the originals. While the best quality swords bear a consistent inscription and exhibit remarkably uniform metallurgical properties, many examples exist that are clearly imitations or of inferior quality. This has led some researchers to suggest that a few elite workshops initially mastered the art of creating these advanced blades, and their methods were later copied. The idea of a brand resonates even today, as certain marks are generally recognized as an assurance of a certain quality. Another major puzzle centers on the origin of the steel itself. Early theories suggested that the exceptional steel might have been imported from the Middle East. However, the balance of evidence now leans towards a more localized European production. Detailed metallurgical studies have revealed that many Ulfbert swords contain materials with iron ore and processing techniques available in the Rhineland during the early Middle Ages. The mystery of who made the Ulfbert swords is compounded by the fact that production appears to have been neither centralized nor uniform. The proliferation of imitations not only diluted the brand, but also complicates the task of tracing the precise origins of the original craftsmanship. Approximately 170 Ulfbert swords have been found across Europe, with the majority located in areas around the Baltic Sea and Scandinavia. This widespread distribution suggests that the swords were not merely traded as luxury items, but were also taken as loot during Viking raids or used as high-value gifts among the nobility. The social and economic context of the period also played a crucial role in the spread of Ulfbert swords. In a time when owning a high-quality weapon could mean the difference between life and death on the battlefield, wielding an Ulfbert was a mark of both wealth and martial prowess. The considerable expense associated with producing such advanced blades meant that they were reserved for the elite. In this sense, the Ulfbert swords served not only as tools of war, but also as symbols of status. objects that conveyed the owner's elevated position within a highly stratified society. Despite decades of research, many questions about the Ulfbert swords remain unanswered. Was there a single mastermind behind these weapons, or did a network of highly skilled smiths share a closely guarded secret? How exactly did these medieval craftsmen manage to work with such advanced metallurgical techniques? And to what extent was their knowledge influenced by interactions with cultures far beyond the borders of Europe? The Roman Empire left behind many wonders of engineering and architecture, largely thanks to the use of Roman concrete, a building material not fully understood till this day. Unlike modern concrete, which can suffer from cracking and degradation over time, Roman concrete has endured for millennia. This longevity isn't just a matter of chance or luck. It's a result of a revolutionary approach to material science that the Romans developed. Even today, researchers are trying to fully understand why Roman concrete has lasted so long and how its unique composition contributed to the durability of Roman structures. Roman concrete was primarily used in harbors, aqueducts, and monumental buildings, and its durability has often amazed both historians and scientists. The key to its longevity lies in its ingredients and the way these ingredients interact. The Romans combined lime with volcanic ash, which was abundant around the Mediterranean region, and added pieces of rock or brick as an aggregate. This mixture created a chemical reaction that produced compounds not found in modern concrete. In particular, the volcanic ash used in the mix contained minerals that reacted with seawater over time to form crystals that reinforce the concrete. Studies have shown that this reaction produces a rare mineral known as aluminum tobermorite, which is highly resistant to cracking and chemical degradation. The concrete revolution that took place in ancient Rome was more than just an improvement in building materials. It represented a fundamental change in how people thought about construction and engineering. While earlier civilizations used materials like stone and mud bricks, the Romans embraced concrete because it allowed them to create structures with curves, arches, and vast open spaces. This adaptability was crucial for building large public works, from sprawling bath complexes to grand amphitheaters. The use of concrete made it possible to construct architectural forms that were not only visually striking, but also structurally sound. The Romans' innovative methods enabled them to build on a scale that was unprecedented at the time, laying the groundwork for urban development and complex civil engineering projects. What makes Roman concrete even more intriguing is the mystery surrounding its formula. Modern concrete, despite being one of the most widely used materials in construction, typically has a lifespan of 50 to 100 years before significant deterioration occurs. In contrast, Roman concrete has lasted for over 2,000 years, even when exposed to harsh marine environments. This durability has prompted researchers to wonder whether modern scientists might learn something from Roman methods that could improve our current building materials. Recent studies have indicated that the secret lies in the natural pozzolanic reaction, a process in which volcanic ash reacts with lime and water to form compounds that are exceptionally stable. Researchers are still studying the precise conditions that made this reaction possible, which adds an element of mystery to an otherwise well-documented historical technique. One of the challenges in replicating Roman concrete is that the volcanic ash used by the Romans was sourced from specific locations, such as the Bay of Naples. The properties of this ash were unique because of its particular mineral content, which isn't commonly found in other parts of the world. Moreover, the seawater used in mixing the concrete played an essential role. The interaction between the ash and seawater triggered the growth of microscopic crystals over time, a process that modern concrete simply doesn't undergo. This slow, continuous reaction means that Roman concrete actually becomes stronger as it ages, a characteristic that modern engineers dream of incorporating into contemporary materials. While many attempts have been made to mimic these reactions in the lab, reproducing the exact conditions of ancient Rome has proven to be a difficult task. This difficulty further contributes to the enduring mystery of Roman concrete's longevity. The Battle of Kadesh is one of those epic clashes that have fascinated historians and casual history fans alike. Fought in 1274 BC between the Egyptian forces led by Pharaoh Ramses II and the Hittite army under King Muwatalli II, this battle stands as the largest chariot battle ever. Despite the grand claims of victory by both sides, modern historians generally agree that the outcome was more of a stalemate. The ancient Near East was a hotbed of competing empires and shifting alliances. Egypt, under Ramses II, was expanding its influence in the Levant, a region that was critical for trade and strategic military positioning. The Hittite Empire, based in what is now modern Turkey, was also on the rise, looking to extend its power into neighboring territories. The city of Kadesh, located near the Orontes River in present-day Syria, was not only an important trading center, but also held religious significance for both cultures. Both empires wanted control of this key area, setting the stage for a clash that would be remembered for millennia. In the months leading up to the battle, tensions between the Egyptians and Hittites were steadily rising. Ramses had a lot riding on this campaign. He wanted to secure his empire's borders, safeguard lucrative trade routes, and boost his reputation as a mighty warrior king. His strategy was to launch a preemptive strike into Hittite territory, expecting that a bold move would keep his enemies on the defensive. However, the Hittites were no pushovers, and King Muwatalli had prepared his forces well, and he was ready to meet the Egyptian advance head-on. When the two armies finally encountered each other near Kadesh, it quickly became clear that this was going to be a battle of epic proportions. The battle itself was a complex affair, with both sides employing thousands of chariots that served as the primary mobile strike force in ancient warfare. Chariots were fast, agile, and capable of breaking enemy lines if used correctly. The Egyptian army was divided into several divisions, each tasked with protecting different parts of the battlefield and executing specific maneuvers. Unfortunately, miscommunication and intelligence failures meant that not all Egyptian units were where they were supposed to be at the critical moments. This led to a situation where some of the Egyptian troops were isolated from the main force and vulnerable to Hittite counterattacks. At one point in the battle, Ramses found himself in a precarious position. His personal chariot unit was cut off from the rest of his army, and it looked like the Hittite forces might overwhelm him. According to Egyptian records, Ramses managed to rally his troops with remarkable personal courage, turning what could have been a devastating defeat into a hard-fought recovery. However, many modern historians believe that these accounts were exaggerated to enhance the pharaoh's reputation. It's likely that while Ramses did show personal bravery, the situation was far more chaotic and uncertain than his official Egyptian records suggest. The Hittites, for their part, were just as determined. They had planned the battle meticulously and had set up ambushes that caught some Egyptian units off guard. Their chariots and infantry worked together in a way that demonstrated not only tactical skill, but also an understanding of the evolving nature of warfare in the ancient world. Yet, despite their careful planning and aggressive maneuvers, the Hittite forces were unable to deliver a decisive blow that would end the battle once and for all. As the day wore on, the fighting reached a kind of impasse. Both sides had suffered significant losses, and neither could claim a clear-cut victory. This stalemate forced both empires to reconsider their positions. For Ramses and the Egyptians, the battle was a mixed bag. On one hand, his dramatic rescue of his isolated troops and his bold, aggressive tactics bolstered his image as a warrior king. On the other hand, the inability to achieve a decisive victory meant that his reputation would always be tinged with a sense of ambiguity. Similarly, while the Hittites managed to repel the Egyptian offensive, they also recognized that neither side could afford to continue such costly warfare indefinitely. One of the most significant outcomes of the Battle of Kadesh was its long-term diplomatic impact. The battle eventually led to negotiations that culminated in a peace treaty between Egypt and the Hittites. This treaty is often hailed as one of the first known peace agreements in recorded history, setting a precedent for how ancient empires could resolve conflicts through diplomacy. The treaty not only helped to secure the borders of both empires, but also established rules for trade and mutual cooperation. In essence, the peace treaty was a much-needed breath of fresh air after years of conflict and uncertainty in the region.